Hello, are you okay? Are you happy? Good. I am happy. I am okay. Good. This is Teacher Kings. Welcome to our lesson of today. Today, we are going to learn about transportation. Transportation. As I always tell you, my lessons are designed for young learners, beginners at English. However, it could still be beneficial to advanced learners, to higher students. But once ever you listen to my lesson, as a beginner, you must learn something. Okay, so today, our lesson of today is on transportation. Transportation. What is transportation? Transportation is the movement from one place to another. Movement from one place to another, okay? Or movement from one location to another. Now, movement of what? What do we move from one place to another? So, transportation in the real sense is the movement of people and goods, or people or goods from one place to another, okay? Or movement of people and goods from one location to another. Do you understand? Okay, let's go into the lesson now proper. Transportation. What is transportation? You understand that already. Now, we have modes of transport and means of transport. Modes of transport and means of transport. I'd like you to repeat after me. All say modes of transport and means of transport. So we have modes of transport and we have means of transport. Okay, what are modes of transport? Modes of transport. We have three main modes of transport. Either by land, or by water, or by air. So those are the three modes of transport: land, water, and air. So we have one, modes of transport: by land, by water, or by air. So land, water, air are the three modes of transport. Do you understand? Good. Now we have means of transport. Number two, means of transport. What are means of transport? Means of transport are the vessels or the vehicles in which we travel in, or in which we travel on. Do you understand? So, means of transport are the vehicles or the vessels we use in transportation. while modes of transport are the medium in which we use to travel or on which we use to travel. If we are traveling by air, it means we are traveling in the air. If we are traveling on land, it means we are traveling on land. If we are traveling by water, it means we are sailing on water. So, means of transport are the medium in which or on which we travel. Do you understand? Good. While means of transport are the vessels or the vehicles which we use in traveling. So, what are the vessels we use to travel? We use vehicles to travel on land. We use vessels to travel on water. We also use vessels to travel by air. So, means of transport. Example, you have car, that's by land, motorbike, by land, van, ship on water, airplane in the air. So, means of transport are the vessels in which we use in traveling. So, let's start now. Means of transport by land. Means of transport by land. We have car, motorcycle, or motorbike. You say motorcycle, or you can say motorbike, or you could still say bike is good. Okay, you have van, train, ambulance, truck, leg. Yes, we use our leg to move around, to transport yourself from one location to another or from one place to another. So we use your leg. And how do you use your leg? You walk with your legs. Okay? Good. So, or bus. Now, so these are some means of transport by land. Now, we go now to means of transport by water. So you have ship, boat, yacht, canoe, submarine. You have means of transport by air. Example, airplane, helicopter, rocket, hot air balloon. Oh, sorry, hot air balloon. Balloon has a double O, balloon. Oh, thank you. Sorry. Okay. Hot air balloon. Okay. Now, let's take it all over again. So you have transportation, the movement from one place to another. Okay. So you have modes of transport and means of transport, modes of transport and means of transport. So, what are modes of transport? Modes of transport are the medium in which or on which we travel. That is, by land, water, or air. These are the three modes of transport. Then means of transport. Means of transport are the vehicles or the vessels in which or by which we use in traveling. Okay? So, means of transport by land. You have car, motorcycle, van, train, ambulance, truck, leg, bus. Students, remember, ambulance is a vehicle used to carry sick people or somebody who is not okay. Do you understand? At times, it's also being used to carry those who are dead. Dead. Okay. So, ambulance. So, we have means of transport by water. Ship, boat, yacht, canoe, submarine. And then we have means of transport by air. By air. Airplane, helicopter, rocket, hot air balloon. Do you understand? Okay, so now, students, let's look at this chart. So here is a summary of this vocabulary you have on the whiteboard. Okay, so you have modes of transport. Modes of transport. Now, I would like students to repeat after me. Okay? Every student should repeat after me. Do you understand? Okay, so everybody say modes of transport. Good. By land, by water, or by air. So these are the three modes of transport: land, water, air. Good. So land, water, air. So now you have means of transport by land. So you repeat after me. Here is walk. You walk with your legs. So walk, walk. Good. Taxi, taxi. Good. School bus, school bus. Good. Van, van. Good. Car, car. Subway, subway. Train, train. Motorbike, motorbike. Truck, truck. You know, a truck is used to transport goods. You use a truck to carry goods from one place to another. Truck. Okay. Means of transport by water. By water. Ship, ship. Boat, boat. Yacht, yacht. Canoe. Canoe. You know, you paddle a canoe. Canoe. Okay? Then, submarine. Submarine. Good. So these are the means of transport by water. So the last one is means of transport by air. Okay? So you have airplane. Airplane. Helicopter. Helicopter. Rocket. Rocket. Hot air balloon. Hot air balloon. Good. Do you understand? Okay, now we are going to our main task of our lesson today. Our main task is the question, how do you come to school? Number one, how do you come to school? Number two, how do you go to Africa? How do you go to Africa? Okay. Number three, how do you go to space? How do you go to space? Do you understand? Okay. So now we have three questions, and these questions requires answers. So question number one, how do you come to school? How do you come to school? How do you come to school? Okay. Answer. I come to school by dash. I come to school by dash. Okay. Number one, I come to school by what is this? Car. I come to school. I come to school by car. Car. Okay? So you write, I come to school by car. Car. Good. Okay. Next. How do you come to school? I come to school by taxi. I come to school by taxi. So I come to school by taxi. So you write taxi. Taxi. Good. Okay. Next. How do you come to school? These are your legs, but you don't say I leg to school. No. You say I walk. Okay? I walk to school. So you write walk. Walk. I walk to school. Or I usually walk to school. Usually means not every day, okay? Not all the time, or not always, okay? So I usually walk to school, okay? Walk. I usually walk to school. Good. Okay. Question number two. How do you go to Africa? How do you go to Africa? I go by airplane. I go by airplane. Okay? I go by airplane. Airplane. Good. Now, students, I want you to tell me the answer without a flashcard. Now, how do you go to space? Space in the moon. How do you go to the moon? Okay? I go by rocket or spaceship. I go by rocket or spaceship. Do you understand? Okay, so we take our task one more time. Okay, so now, number one, Teacher Kings will ask the question, and then students, you will give the answer. So I will point at the words of the answer, and then you will read and say them. Do you understand? So I will ask the question, and students, you read the answer and say them. Do you understand? So, how do you come to school? How do you come to school? Students, you read. What did you say? I come to school by car. I come to school by car. Good. Number two, how do you come to school? What do you say? Did you say, I come to school by taxi? If that's what you said, good. Number three, how do you come to school? I walk to school. I walk to school. Now, how do you come to school? I usually walk to school. Usually means not always. Okay. Next question. Number two. How do you go to Africa? How do you go to Africa? So, we are now in the continent of Asia. So, how do you move from Asia to the continent of Africa? We ask the question, how do you go to Africa? How do you go to Africa? Okay, I go by airplane. I go by airplane. So, students, I ask the question and you answer, okay? How do you go to Africa? Students, good. I go by airplane. Very good. Number three, how do you go to space? How do you go to space? Space is where you have the moon. How can you move from the earth to the moon? How do you go to space? Okay? I go by rocket. I go by rocket. Or I go by spaceship. I go by rocket or I go by spaceship. Students, do you understand? I hope my lesson is clear and explicit. Okay, so what have you learned today? Today, you have learned about transportation. In transportation is the movement from one place to another, or the movement from one location to another. Okay, so there are modes of transport and means of transport. So what are modes of transport? Modes of transport are the three medium on which or in which we use to travel. So modes of transport: by land, by water, by air. Good. And means of transport. Means of transport are the vessels or the vehicles in which or by which we use to travel. Okay, then we have means of transport by land: car, motorbike, train. Then we have means of transport by water: ship, boat, yacht, canoe, submarine. We also have the means of transport by air: airplane, helicopter, rocket, hot air balloon. And then finally, our main task is the question: how do you come to school? Number one. Number two, how do you go to Africa? And number three, how do you go to space? So, number one, how do you come to school? Students, how do you come to school? I come to school by motorcycle. How do you come to school? I come to school by car. How do you come to school? I come to school by school bus, big school bus. How do you come to school? I come to school by taxi. Okay? Or how do you come to school? I walk to school. I walk to school. How do you come to school? I usually walk to school. Good. Now, students, this is Asia, and we have Africa is very, very far. So, how do you leave Asia and go to Africa? You see, how do you go to Africa? I go by airplane. I go by airplane. Finally, how do you go to space? Astronauts move to space. So how do you go to space? I go by rocket. I go to space by rocket. Or I go by a spaceship. Do you understand? Thank you very much. Practice at home. Keep yourself safe. Meet you in my next lesson. Are you happy? Did you understand? Are you okay? Bye-bye. Thank you.